Now, whatever you do, don't push this button. Because that will set off the bomb immediately, and we'll all be dead. Now, repeat back what I just said.
I am Groot.
Mm-hmm.
I am Groot.
Uh-huh.
I'm Groot.
No!
Twain's World! Wrong show. What is up, InterWebs?
Also the wrong show.
Big Lip here. Matt the Cutman, and with me, as always, we're in for a interesting ride here, because we have just come from seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume Dos. And it was a bit of a goofy ride, so we're gonna talk about it. And if you haven't seen this, we're gonna do some non-spoiler stuff up front. We'll save some spoilery stuff for the end of this review, and we'll let you know before we get to it. All that being said, Cutman, thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
It was just as goofy and weird as the first one.
It more so, I'd say. I felt that this one. James Gunn was kind of like, oh, you liked that one, did you? Well, here's a little bit more, and then some.
Let me tell you something.
It's like, oh, you like that? Okay, well, how about we have them fight a planet? That's not really a spoiler.
Sure.
Ego is a planet. You know that going in. So
there's weird blobs and lots of spaceships. And
all kinds of stuff. It definitely came across more as a action sci-fi comedy more so than the first one. The first one definitely had some humor elements in it, but this one really kind of
swung for the fences.
It really did. Almost to a fault at times, I think.
Yeah.
Felt like they were reaching a little bit with some of the comedy at times, but for the most part, the jokes landed for me.
Yeah.
Especially Mr. Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Drax the Destroyer. For a character named Drax the Destroyer, he is absolutely hysterical in this role, and I love that he has found kind of that niche character to play after having a very successful career in the WCW or WWE. So what else stands out about?
Yeah, no, I had Drax written down as having some of the best lines, and it's really hard to upstage Chris Pratt in any role, let alone Star-Lord and Rocket the Raccoon.
Yeah,
with the whole cast and Kurt Russell. I mean, it's really hard to upstage all these guys, and damn it all to hell if he didn't. And
stole the damn movie. Stole the movie. Not only with his humor and stuff, but some of the action stuff that he did, and he had some really heart-touching moments.
Oh yeah,
too. Some really good.
Yeah, he really did.
Like the scene there. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but he's sitting there reflecting on some stuff that he's been through, and the Mantis character is kind of opening up to her, and it's really
the scenes with him and Mantis.
Yeah, some great stuff.
Were really funny, and then really, it swung right on around and just gotcha.
Yeah. And speaking of Mantis, I've got her written down here. Her name has this for a name, Palm Clementif. She is half Russian, half Korean. Raised in Canada.
Half Canadian.
So, yeah, I think...
And half insect.
Yeah, clearly. So, yeah, I thought she added a very nice emotional depth to the cast to kind of round out the ensemble. I felt, to me, and I'm probably going to get a little bit of heat for this out there, but the one thing to me that was funny for about this much time, and then I was ready for it to not be as significant anymore, was Baby Groot. Baby Groot to me got real old real fast.
I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree.
Yeah, I know. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on that, but I just was like, I'm as cute and adorable as he was, I missed the badass that Groot was from the first movie. Because Groot was a badass in the first movie, but he was still that dopey, lovable badass. You know, he still had some really heartfelt moments in the first movie, but he still could kick ass. In this one, it was just kind of like, I'm here, look how cute I am. Okay, we get it, you're cute. Go do something now. But that may just be because I don't like pets and dogs. So, or kids. So...
Also, you're dead inside.
Well, there's that as well. So,
when he brought back the toe.
Had we gotten to the toe at the third thing that he brought back, it would have been really, really effective. But it was like the seventh thing that he brought back, and you'll know what we're talking about when you see the movie. But it was like, okay, we get it. He doesn't know what you're talking about. It was just like, okay, move on. Okay, there's the punchline, and now we move into where the rest of the movie's going.
See, I think there's a couple ways to play a joke. One is you get in, you get out real quick. The other way is you get in, you drag it on a little bit too long, and then there's the punchline, and they're like, okay, that's too long. The other way to do it is you get in, you keep going.
It's the pulled pork method.
You keep going. You just keep going. You will laugh at this payoff. God damn it, you will laugh at this payoff.
And I laughed at the payoff, but not so much to negate the other four things. I don't think it took it far enough. But by that point, I was already kind of bored with Baby Groot to begin with. So, anyway, or not necessarily bored, but just disappointed that he didn't... I don't know. It just... Something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't know about
Splinters.
You. Huh?
Splinters.
Maybe. Didn't use a fine enough grit sandpaper when they were pulling him out of the old rubble pile at the end of the last movie.
Get with Offerman on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what else stood out to you, either positive or negative? What else you got written down in your old notepad there, sir?
I mean, obviously the banter between the whole cast, but the soundtrack, of course, the soundtrack. Yeah. It had me tapping my toe the whole time.
I wanted more.
We saw it last night, and I worked from home for most of the day today, and I was just listening to it the whole day.
Yeah, I bought it last week when it came out, and it was good. There's some good tunes on there. All of the really great tunes on there, to me, I already have in my collection, like The Chain from Fleetwood Mac and a couple of the others. Again, this to me was a good soundtrack, and I liked it, but it didn't nearly hit home the way that the first soundtrack did. It was okay, yeah, we get it. He likes old music, but none of the songs, with the exception of the song Brandy? Yeah. Brandy's a great song, and they use that effectively as a story point in the movie, and that hit home. But I guess it just did not have the same impact that the soundtrack from the first one had for me. It was good, but it just didn't really hit home the way that the soundtrack from the first one did. So
I guess I hadn't heard those songs in a while. They're definitely not the songs that I normally listen to on a daily basis. But,
nor me at all.
It definitely helped move the movie along because I did have some issues with it.
Yeah.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but some of these movies recently that we have been going to see, the third acts, it's like they're not quite sure what to do in the third act. And so they're just like, all right, we're going to throw everything up against the wall, light it on fire, throw some dynamite in there, and then light a nuclear bomb underneath it, and then we'll put that on screen. We'll do that then.
I'm going to disagree with this one, because to me, once we figured out where this movie was going, that's when I was like, okay, thank you. But we didn't know where this movie was going until we got to the third act. And then once we got to the third act, it was like, oh, well, that makes sense. And now I was able to enjoy the movie. It's just the first 2/3 of the movie, I was just like, where are we going? Can we get somewhere, please? I get it. They bicker. I get it. It's funny. I get it. They're in space. Tell me a story. And it just didn't have any of those story elements that there just wasn't any cohesion to it until we got to the very end. And when we got to the end in the third act, we figured out what everything was happening. It was, okay, now we can all work together and come to this resolution. As a cohesive movie, it was okay, and I gotta tell you, I felt that some of the camaraderie that was so prevalent in the first movie really felt forced in this iteration. Did that come across to you at all in this?
Well, I mean, they were definitely splintered. They obviously at the beginning or the end of the first act, they all went off on their own separate ways. One of the things that I just don't understand, I don't get why. Okay, what's Gamora's problem? Why she obviously likes Peter and Peter likes her. What's the problem there?
Yeah.
Get the stick out of your ass.
Well, he even calls her out for that too. And we're going to go ahead and get into some spoiler territory here. So if you haven't seen it yet, go see it, come back, and then you'll know what the hell we're talking about. So he even calls her out for it. He goes, it's the Sam and Diane thing. This isn't a good TV show. And so they kind of made fun of that whole thing, and I get it, but at the same time, I agree. It's like, okay, there is that unspoken thing. Of course there's that unspoken thing. Yeah. Yeah, but I meant like, the stuff between Peter and Rocket, it was like, okay, really? That's all right. It just, I don't know. It just felt like it was, they tried way too hard to make this. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a dad on vacation. Hey, come on, we're going to go have fun. Let's go have so much fun. This is how much fun we're going to go have. And then you get there and it's like, okay, this really isn't all that much fun. Did I enjoy the movie? Absolutely. I thought it was a really, really fun ride. Is it in my top 5 of Marvel movies? Not even close. But I still really, really enjoyed the movie.
Did you like it better than the first?
Not even close.
No, I thought the first definitely was superior.
Far superior.
Yeah.
This, to me, this one hit me a lot like Iron Man 2 did. Kind of like, oh, that's what they did. Okay. And then I'm sure the more I watch it, the more I will find elements of it that will really hit home, and I'll be able to kind of focus in on that. Like Iron Man 2, I walked out of that movie going, what the hell was that? And then the more I watch it, I'm like, okay, Sam Rockwell's hysterical.
Yeah.
And then, okay, the banter between he and Rhodey is good, and then the stuff with him in the Senate hearings is good, and there's a lot of really good elements that are really, really good, and then but the movie as a whole is meh.
Sure.
This I think is going to kind of be the same thing, but I will say one of the things that I'm really, really excited about is the potential for what they're going to do with the franchise, the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, moving forward with Sylvester Stallone and Ving Rhames and that crew of Ravagers. That's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with that, because that was, I like I said, I mentioned this to you last night. There's a part of me that's really bummed we didn't get to see Tango and Cash on screen together at the same time with Sly and Kurt Russell together, but still, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It just disappointed me that it didn't have the same energy. It didn't have the same pizzazz that the first one did.
Same lightning in the bottle.
Yeah.
Speaking of didn't get to see them together, they brought back the young Kurt Russell. I really wish they would have brought back like a young Goldie Hawn in the what there wasn't a Camaro, but in whatever T-top we were riding around in.
You know what that car reminded me of? What was the car that he drove in that Death Race or Death Proof?
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't the Death Proof car. Oh, there were a couple cars in Death Proof because he kept wrecking them.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's kind of where my mind went with that. I was like, oh, they're gonna high speed chase this.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're probably not. But that's where my mind went whenever I see Kurt Russell driving a cool car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of young Kurt Russell, they are getting damn good at that younging people down technology stuff because that was almost seamless. I mean, if I didn't know any better, because I do know better because I'm an intelligent guy, but most of the time.
What?
Shut up. Anyway, anything else that feel needs to be commented? What else you got written down there?
No John C. Reilly.
Oh yeah, it would have been good to see.
I would have liked to see some John C.
A little bit of the Nova Corps, yeah, that would have been cool. I do like the fact, however, that their reputation is preceding them. So that was cool. They said, well, what are we going to do? We're going to go turn them in for this amount of money, or we're going to be known throughout the galaxy as the people who destroyed the Guardians. No, that's not going to happen. So I do like that have built their name for themselves because of what they did in the first one. Yeah. So very, very interesting. I know that they are filming Avengers Infinity War now, and all of the people in this movie that are alive, because we did have, sadly, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, spoiler big time, Michael Rooker as Yondu. Loved his character and what he ended up doing and how he went out. I thought that was really, really good. And I loved that he's standing there at his funeral. He says, "I guess I did have David Hasselhoff as my dad."
Great cameo, by the way.
Good cameo by the Hoff. Yeah. And as soon as they said David Hasselhoff, I'm like, we're going to get a Hoff reference or a cameo in here.
You're not going to not get a Hoff reference.
Exactly. So, but it was good. It was good to see the Hoff on the big screen again. Anyway, those are our thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Good movie, not great, still a lot of fun. Go check it out in theaters if you haven't already. Let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments section below. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to this YouTube channel because, hey, it's free and we could use your support. Find us on Facebook, just at The InterWebs Show. Find us on Twitter, just at The InterWebs Show. Find us wherever it is that you want to find us, at The InterWebs Show. And until next time, we will see you on the interwebs.
Brandy, you're a fine girl.
I don't think that's how it goes.
Shut the fuck up.